So we heard that this actress was going to be putting on an event. It was some kind of like get out the vote event. But someone went in and spray painted a bunch of anti-Semitic things that I probably don't want to repeat because YouTube will punish me if I do. Suffice it to say, though, everyone was calling it, like a hate crime, essentially. It was vandalism. It was anti-Semitic. People were saying, white supremacists or who did this? Well, it turns out the NYC synagogue vandalism suspect is a former City Hall anti-hate crime intern. And if that's the case, an anti-hate crime intern, that would make this a hoax. It also turns out this guy was a volunteer for Obama and interned with the Democrats. The suspect in the vandalism of a New York synagogue was a Democratic activist and former City Hall intern who worked on anti-hate crime issues, the Daily Caller News Foundation has learned. He is a queer black man informally adopted by a Jewish couple and told New York Times charity The Neediest Cases helped pay for him to go to college where his focus was African American studies, according to a 2017 New York Times profile. A political event with two Democratic candidates at the Union Temple of Brooklyn was canceled Friday after attendees found graffiti saying, I'm not going to repeat that, I'm not going to repeat that either, which, suffice to say, and if people who aren't watching, they're anti-Semitic things. Which one of these candidates said highlighted the need to vote out hate? Police arrested 26-year-old James Polite later that night based on surveillance footage. A year ago, the New York Times profiled Polite, noting that he was an LGBT foster youth who could defy the statistics after becoming the adopted child of the Quinn administration. Christine Quinn, the Speaker of the New York City Council, put it. And it wasn't just me, it was the entire City Council staff. That was Christine Quinn who said that. So I think it's fair to say, hoax. Adopted by a Jewish family, worked on anti-hate crime issues, and then went and spray painted anti-Semitic things. Seems like this was a hoax to make it seem like they were victims. Why does that keep happening? It seriously does. I was reading a story that said the FBI doesn't keep statistics on fake hate crimes, only regular hate crimes. We keep hearing that hate crimes are on the rise. But we're also seeing story after story of fake hate crimes. There was one dude who burned down a church and wrote racial slurs on it. Turned out he was a member of the church. It was fake. This kind of thing keeps happening. There was a Jewish dude who called in a bunch of threats to a bunch of synagogues. Turned out he was a Jewish teenager. Why they do it? Look, it's really obvious. You get press. You're the victim. No one would have known about this event if this didn't happen. But it also generates sympathy because people hear this and they think, oh my God, things are getting so bad. And you constantly hear about how hate crimes are on the rise. And here's the problem I have with people like this. Willing to commit these fake hate crimes makes it hard to understand if real hate crimes are on the rise because you've got people crying hate crime. People crying fascist. It's like the boy who cried wolf, right? The more you say it, the more I'm like, dude, now we've got Bolsonaro in Brazil. And a lot of people are saying that he is a fascist. He's got some quotes that are pretty damn alarming. The problem is, I don't know if I can believe it because so much of the left has pointed the finger at everybody and called them a fascist. Here's what ends up happening. People like Huffington Post called me a fascist. And I'm like, well, I'm literally not. I'm closer to libertarian than anything, but I'm like a social liberal. Yet they want to call me a fascist. When you put me in the same camp as someone like Bolsonaro, what do you think the average person's going to think? They're going to think, oh, that person must be like me then. They must be okay. When you literally scream and fake this stuff, no one's going to believe it when it actually happens. And the more this happens, and also look at the Kavanaugh hearings. What happened with Brett Kavanaugh? Okay, now 4 of the accusers have recanted. 1 was partial, 3 were complete retractions of their statement. And they might actually go to jail. They might get investigated by the FBI because Grassley's referring them. So let's continue with the story. They say, in the 2017 profile, the New York Times said Polite, who requested to join the foster care system after his mother provided unsanitary conditions for him, interned with Miss Quinn, a Manhattan Democrat, for several years working on initiatives to combat hate crime, sexual assault, and domestic violence. He also took part in her re-election campaign in 2009 and returned to help her unsuccessful bid for mayor in 2013. And they've got some photos of, what is this? Sometimes things take a little heat to grow, and it's, I don't know, it is an American flag. His Facebook profile, reviewed by the DCNF, shows that on November 1st, a day before the synagogue vandalism, he posted, "A dream with eyes wide open, civil war is here. Nobody gotta die. Mexico, Latin America, Caribbean versus," oh my God, I can't say that. "One person touched me this whole SA smoking." It sounds like he might actually be extremely anti-Semitic. And a lot of people have pointed to Farrakhan, who is considered to be on the left, although nobody wants these people, so the left is saying he's right-wing, the right is saying he's left-wing. But he was in a bunch of photos with left-wing people. At 3:46 a.m. on November 1st, Polite posted a cell phone picture of a burning American flag with a caption, there you go, sometimes things take a little heat to grow. Police suspect him of setting fires at 7 shuls and yeshivas in Williamsburg the same night before the temple vandalism. Whoa, 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 oh my God. This guy wasn't just spray painting anti-Semitic things at a temple. He apparently burned down 7 shuls and yeshivas in Williamsburg that same night. Security footage captured that too. It's probably how they were able to arrest him. The Facebook profile's pictures and biographical information reveal that it's the same man in the New York Times profile. Its URL indicates James Polite, but he changed his online name to Abraham Ali. The Times profiles that the New York councilman helped Polite get into college. I don't know if we need to read all that part, but man, he said some wow. He was posting a bunch of crazy stuff on Facebook. I can't read it. I can't. We're in the age of censorship where it's getting really, really bad. And you'll notice that even in my main channel videos, like I'll read through an article and I'll try and contextualize a certain phrase so you understand it. Because if I say it, I mean, YouTube's literally taking down channels. I got to be really careful. And it's bad, but it's better my channel exists than my channel gets deleted. So the Times charity, New York Times Neediest Cases Fund, took over Mr. Polite's case as he aged out of the foster care system and helped him attend Brandeis. I don't know what that is. Mr. Polite hopes to graduate in May. Oh, it's a school. Brandeis. Mr. Polite hopes to graduate in May with degrees in African American Studies and Political Science and took 2 classes over the summer to stay on pace, the profile said. In June, Children's Aid used $856 from the Neediest Cases Fund for school supplies and fees not covered by his financial aid package. On Facebook, he shared a paper hosted by Brandeis' website from the Journal of Black Studies about witchcraft, race, and resistance in colonial New England, highlighting how whites accused blacks of the crime of witchcraft in New England. Weird. The Times profile also pictured Polite next to a smiling couple, Joshua Waletsky and Jenny Levison. They wanted to foster an LGBTQ youth on the brink of aging out of a system, the Times wrote. Although Mr. Polite was not legally adopted, his relationship with his biological parents has improved in recent years. Ms. Levinson called it a moral adoption. He says he considers the couple his second set of parents. The Times issued a correction on the profile. An earlier version of this article referred incompletely to the type of youth whom Josh Waletsky and Jenny Levinson sought to foster. It was an LGBTQ youth on the brink of aging out of the system, not merely a gay youth. But on Facebook, Polite mocked such hipsters as naive gentrifiers looking to feel good about themselves. In one post, at the bottom of which he named Waletsky and Levison, he wrote, I'm not going to read it, but he says, a little bit, he says, they're back at Hipster Manifest Destiny with new art, something in Spanish featuring an indigenous who could have been the indigenous person who died on land with a view that they and their friends of the bubble would die. I'm not going to read through this. These are incoherent ramblings for the most part. I get what he's trying to say, but it sounds like this dude didn't like conservatives. It sounds like this dude didn't like Jews. It sounds like he didn't like hipsters and liberals. It sounds like his ideology would fit pretty well with like ultra, white identitarian, I don't want to get too much into it, but, kind of the fringy racist types. But this guy's black, so it sounds like he, in my opinion, I'm not well versed in this area, but it sounds like he probably listens to Louis Farrakhan a whole lot. Before it had been known that the suspect was a Democratic activist being paid by taxpayers to work on hate crime issues. Democratic New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said he was asking the state's hate crimes task force to investigate the incident and pointed to an additional $10 million grant program to help protect New York's non-public schools and cultural centers, including religious-based institutions. The disgusting rhetoric and heinous violence in this nation has reached a fever pitch and is ripping at the fabric of America. I think they're missing a quote there. And one of the 2 Democratic New York candidates speaking at the event. So basically, it seems like a lot of people were highlighting this, pointing to the right and blaming them, and it turns out it was a Democratic volunteer. It was a Democratic intern. They say that in other Facebook posts, Polite rails against Israel and posts about Palestinian causes. On October 11th, he posted, "Apologize for everything hurtful I posted that offended my friends. There is a way to reject Zionism without being anti-Semitic." Sure. I've talked to my friends on the far left about this, about how, look, it doesn't matter from the left or the right. Anti-Semitism goes in every direction. And it's one of the things that I get really triggered by racism and particularly anti-Semitism. Because a lot of people, I don't think, actually believe it. And a lot of people who do believe it are just playing identity politics. They're literally talking about Jewish privilege, and it's nonsense, right? It's like, it frustrates me to no end. But what really frustrates me is the left claiming they're the good guys, they're the anti-racists, when you have people like this working for the Democrats, rejecting Zionism, pro-Palestine, and then committing these violent attacks, this vandalism, this arson. It's entirely absurd. So they say that no one answered a phone at the number listed for Josh Waletsky. The Times didn't immediately answer their request for comment. But you've got this huge post that I don't want to read through because this guy just goes on a rant about Palestine and Zionism and anti-Semitism. And, you know, for the most part, the important takeaway from all this is that we are seeing a rise of fake hate crimes. I don't know. I don't have the facts. Let me walk back that statement. It appears like we're seeing more fake hate crimes. They're appearing in the news very often. And I believe I read something that said they were on the rise, but I don't have the facts pulled up. So fact check me. Don't just believe that. It's just my understanding of what's going on. We know that hate crimes are on the rise. But no one's really tracking fake hate crimes for the most part. Some people are, and I've seen some posts about it. The point is, when this happens, when Democratic volunteers do this, everyone wants to assume it's someone on the right, but then it turns out to be someone on the left. Why then do you not understand why the right thinks a lot of these instances are hoaxes, are false flags? Plain and simple. It's because of things like this. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. More videos on the main channel tomorrow at 4 p.m. That's youtube.com/Timcast. Yes, that is my main channel. This one just says Timcast because YouTube did that. I don't know why. But it's a different channel. So check it out, and I'll see you all tomorrow.